Hello, my Aloha tribe, and welcome to the Aloha Perspective. Happy Wednesday. It's Wednesday. Oh, my goodness. I know, every time, right? One of these days I'm going to open up and it's going to be like, hi, how are you? It's Wednesday. It's Self-Care Wednesday. I'm going to open up with the Self-Care, or the Sacred Self-Care Rituals deck. I tell you, these are like a box of chocolates. You never know what's going to come up, and sometimes I am literally legit put on the spot, and it's kind of like but giggles aside, I do okay. So, and I also got the Heal Yourself reading cards. I know normally people who have come on and jumped on Friday Oracles have seen this deck before, but I specifically pulled out some specific cards that I think will help for Self-Care Wednesday, along with myself, that I will share in the comments for mindfulness. And I really do think they all kind of go together. Like I said, I picked out very specific cards, and I will tell you why, because, you know, this is going to be a Self-Care Wednesday with kind of a point behind it. So not just here, try all these different things that you can do. Good morning, older sibling. Good morning, baby sibling. Happy hump day. Hump day, hump day, hump day. Hump day. What day is it? It's hump day. It's all right. I can't. All right, I guess I'm just supposed to shuffle and then pull. Oh, all right. So card number 1 for the Self-Care Ritual deck, Time with Friends. Time with Friends. That's funny because I'm going to have, you're welcome, baby sibling. I'm going to have coffee with one of my good friends today. So I'm looking forward to that. Should be a nice just giggle fest and just a good time. But Time with Friends really is a very good self-care tool. You know, a lot of times we tend to isolate, or, you know, we don't realize we're isolating until we get out, and it's kind of like, people, you know, people who need people. Older sibling's gonna curse me because I may have just gotten that song stuck in her head, but anyway, yeah, don't, if you know you want to get out and you're struggling to get out and somebody says, hey, let's go for coffee or something, just do it, because that might be your body telling you, or the universe or your source saying, get the hell out of the house, okay? Even if it's just a run outside, you know, rest. How many of us lack that, right? How many people lack rest? I know rest can sometimes be hard, okay? There are binaural beats that you can find on YouTube or pretty much anywhere on the internet. There's the Calm app. There's all different kinds of things that can help you get to sleep. A lot of the reasons sometimes, and people are probably saying, well, why is rest or sleep in there? Because we tend to get into our heads and overthink, and that's a lot of times what keeps us awake. Or sometimes it's just hard to go to sleep. You know, because sometimes you just start, well, again, you just start thinking and thinking and thinking, and all this stuff just gets trapped into your head, and it's like it plays like a loop, like a really ugly cycle that you can't get out of, and it keeps you awake. So then what you do is you're on your phone, you're on your iPad, you're on your Kindle, you're doing whatever it is you can to distract your mind and hope that maybe you'll just fall asleep, you know, wake up with keyboard prints on your forehead or something. But that's not always how it works, okay? So sometimes we have to make, I'm giggling because I just saw the next card. What did I tell you? I may have manifested that. But I'm only, you know, I know how it can be when you're stressed and you're just kind of in this place where it's like, and everything is just looping, and it's hard to clear your mind and to just, you know, allow your brain a second to rest so you can fall asleep. So, pleasure. I know I handled it so much better the last time we had this card, but handled. You see what I accidentally did there? But anyways, this is a form of self-care. That's right. Feeling cranky, feeling moody, feel like you want to punch someone. Been a while since, you know. It's okay. Don't shame your body. Don't be ashamed of your body. Just do what you got to do to bring yourself back to a good place. Ding. This is when it would help to have those little computer graphics where your teeth just sparkle. Ding. So anyways, but no, seriously. Again, whether you're single or not single, it's okay. Okay. I know a lot of times, and I only giggle because it's like, how am I going to talk about this? What am I going to say? I only really have one experience on this because I'm single, but I will tell you, it's a proven method. All right. So, what I tried to stop having shame a long time ago. All right. Your body is your body. Your body has needs and your body has wants. Just like your brain needs to be fed knowledge, your body needs to be hydrated and fed. Your soul needs to have compassion and love and self-care and all that. Same, and your heart. Well, you also have to nourish your needs. Okay. Your body needs all different kinds of things. And sometimes it's actually a very good release, depending on how good it is. But sometimes, your body does need that release. And a lot of times we hold it in because, maybe you think, oh, well, I'm not the kind of person that goes out there and just does that. Or I don't feel like going out there to just do that. And, whatever your reason, okay, there is nothing wrong, all right? And the reason I'm going with self-pleasure on this one is because this is clearly their hand, all right? That matches the other hand up there. So, see, love. Love will lead the way. And, it is a form of self-love and self-care. So, I know I giggle, and I'm sorry because I just get, I don't know. I don't even know what's happening in my brain sometimes when this happens. I think it's just because they just come up so quickly, and I have a dirty mind. So like everything I'm saying just seems to be going in the wrong direction in my head. You're probably thinking, oh, she's just what? I don't get it, Shelly. Well, I do. Well, I don't, but I do. Never mind. This is what I'm talking about. I'm so sorry. I started overthinking that one, and it just went in about 10 different directions that it probably should not have gone in. But anyways, I should have said, I don't understand. Okay. But yeah, so you know what? And you know what? This is actually another good form of self-love and self-care. A lot of people hate their bodies, right? Maybe you hate it because of trauma you've experienced. I myself have had to overcome certain traumas when it comes to the body, and it's just kind of like, ugh, like why? It's like, and sometimes those feelings that come up scare you because sometimes they are associated with something bad or not good in your life. And there is a way to work through that. There is a way that you can work through that. So, if when you see this card, or just even write it down, it's okay. Okay. It's okay to just, be there for yourself. And that's basically what that card is talking about, is being there for yourself. Don't depend on other people to make you feel great, or even to validate you. And the pleasure card can go in so many different directions. It could be self-pleasure. It could be mental pleasure. It could be all different kinds of things, but it's self-care. And if, you're waiting for someone to bring these things to you, you might wait a while, to the point where you're just kind of like, you know what, fuck it. I'm just going to do this. Okay. And then you do, and you're like, whoa, why did I wait so long to try that? Okay. Now that was my own experience. Okay. Chanting. I know that's not for everybody, but that's a mindfulness tool. If you meditate, or, a lot of the is a chant. There are Buddhists who chant. Native Americans and Native Hawaiians actually have dances and songs that are chants, because they're very sacred. They're very sacred, and they're important to the culture. But also, chanting can also help, especially if you're using, I believe that's the symbol up above. So you can try that with meditation. You don't have to chant during meditation. All right, just let me make that perfectly clear right now. You do not have to chant during meditation. So, you can try that. God, I'm sorry guys, I have to let my hair down. My barrette is poking into my head so bad. I know. So, let the locks fly free. Anyways, alright, let's do a couple more. drink tea. Now, I know this isn't everybody's things, but you know, you can have a glass of wine, but tea is somehow associated with mindfulness. Okay. I particularly like tea. It does calm me down, believe it or not. I'm going to give you a tip. If it is a super hot day, drink a hot beverage. Okay, I'm not going to tell you to drink tea because, like I said, not everybody's into tea. You can have coffee, you can have tea, because what happens is it causes your body to heat up and sweat, which allows your body to release all that, and it actually cools you down. I learned that on my trip to England. So, because I was about to peel off all my layers, and my friend told me, no, don't. He's all, just drink the tea and you're going to cool down. And sure enough, I did. It was actually kind of fascinating how it can warm you up when it's cold outside, but it can also cool you down when it's hot outside. So, never underestimate. I learned a fun fact yesterday watching TV, and I'm not sure if it's true, but you know, this show is pretty accurate with the things they look up and the people who offer these different pieces of advice. And they said that most spicy foods are found in countries where the climate is warmer, because it does help cool them down. It helps keep them cool, because the body again heats up, you sweat, and then you're cooler. All right. So, but drink tea. That can go with your chanting or your meditation. A lot of times you can actually get lost, you know, in yourself, and you know, when you're drinking tea, you just have that kind of sense of, ooh, this feels good, you know, and it can put you in a state of meditation without you even realizing it. And that could be with any hot beverage, you know. Sound healing. Again, they have a lot of these on YouTube. You can find like the binaural beats. You can find you can look up sound baths, sound healing, or chakra bowls as in the kind you eat out of, crystal bowls. I'm trying to think of all the different ones that they have. Or like I said, you can just put in sound healing or sound bath. Before you poo-poo that, I am telling you, put on a pair of headphones, turn it on, and you will be amazed. Because if you literally give it a chance, you can feel it just reverberating through your body. Not necessarily the sound, but the energy that comes with it. You know, so just stay open to that. It can't hurt. Let's see, we'll pull one more card. Ooh, health checkup. All right, let's do something a little more fun. But, hello, if anybody out there needs to make appointments that you know you're supposed to be making and you haven't made yet, please make them. Let's see. Connect with your ancestors. I want to get something that everybody can really kind of sink their teeth into. Clean your space. That might be for me. Oh, dance. How about dancing? You know, even if you just do it by yourself, dance like nobody's watching. Get those juices flowing. Get that vibe flowing. Get all the good stuff going, you know, because that's how we make it through. You know, that's how we raise that vibe. That's how we just kind of get all those, you know, everything just going and going and going, is by really kind of raising your vibe and dancing. I love to dance like nobody's watching because nobody is, which might be a good thing. So, but I do like to move, get movement in there. So I need to do that more. I think that would be an actual good kind of exercise. But and you know, if you are choosing to go that route, don't worry. Okay, if you're doing, you know, if you're dancing all by yourself, just let go. Don't worry, nobody can see you, nobody's watching. Just let go. You know, enjoy yourself. Like I said, pick up that vibe, pick up that excitement and that joy and all that stuff that you really want to feel, you know, and don't, like I said, nobody's watching. If you're worried someone's going to walk in, lock the door or put do not disturb, you know, exercising or something. And if somebody does catch you, who cares? Just, you know, dance like no one's watching. So, one of the things I was talking about was self-care and how we'll kind of roll with this one. I did pull the healing deck, okay, the Healing Yourself reading cards. And this is not an oracle reading. This is just cards I went through the deck and pulled out thinking that they might be helpful. Yesterday I talked about how I came to the end of that healing journey and one day just blurted out in a tweet, responding to someone that, I was healed. And then I kind of sat there, as I mentioned, before posting it, because I was kind of shocked. I'd been working so hard, right, to find the light, that I had suddenly just kind of fallen into it. I just kind of tripped right into it. And then I was standing there kind of like a deer in headlights. It's like, well, what now? And, one of the reasons that I really try to push this towards especially younger people, like people not significantly younger than me, but younger than me, is because the longer we carry our trauma, the more it becomes a habit, right? Whatever your trauma is, it could be all kinds of things. Your feelings are valid. So if you feel like you're traumatized by something and you're trying to find a way to heal from it, then this may be for you. Because a lot of times we will sit there and it just festers, and then it grows into bad habits, and then we create these bad habits. And the longer that we go unhealed, the longer that we just decide we don't want to deal with it, we just want to push it away and say, you know what, screw this, I don't want to deal with it, I don't need to deal with it, I'm fine. We're not always fine. So again, the longer we deal with it, the more it grows and it becomes a bad habit. And that's exactly what happened. When I tripped into the light and stood up, I did feel like a deer in headlights. Just standing there with my eyes wide open going, oh, now what? Because I'd spent so many years just dragging that anchor of dread. Just dragging that anchor of anger, those anchors of sadness and pain and all that. And now all of a sudden, the ship that I'm sailing was free of those anchors. And it was kind of like, I'm not used to going this fast, right? Because once you pull up the anchor, the boat can go. It's free to do whatever it wants to do. It's free to move about the ocean. But a lot of times, we look back and we see the sea of misery through those wall of waves, and we're like, oh, it was so much easier. But it wasn't easier. It wasn't easier because you were harboring things. You were keeping things a secret. You were hiding things. You were trying to handle things that you thought you could handle alone, and maybe you can or can't. Or maybe you could or couldn't. But whatever the case is, once you realize you're free, you get a little stuck. And that's what happened to me. It's been almost a month since I blurted out that I was healed, and yet I still feel like I haven't moved forward because I still stress, I still worry, I still kind of overthink about all these things, and what's in the sea of misery? The island of overthinking, right? And we don't want to go there. We don't want to go back to there because it didn't serve us then, and it's certainly not going to serve us now, where we have this entire ocean, right in front of us, to just sail and see what happens. And so I kind of put together these cards, and I'm going to finish it off with a post from Self-Care Express on ways to be mindful. All right, so I'm just going to read these through, and we'll talk about each one. So one of the first things we find that we do, whether we're healed or in the state of healing, once we start to move away, and okay, now this is just my perspective, all right? I am not a professional in any way, shape, or form. I mean, the closest I've ever come to counseling was being a peer counselor in high school. But this is my experience. And having talked to a lot of different people, I've also found that this is their experience. So I kind of gathered specific cards to kind of reflect the same experiences a lot of us have gone through, including myself. And one of the things I noticed that once I was a deer in headlights, and then I realized, oh, okay, I am healed. Well, once that sunk in, that I had said that, and then I tried to say it a few more times, it was a little hard. Even when I wrote it in the floof book, I put I am healing, and I meant to put I am healed. So my brain wasn't ready to accept it. But it wasn't ready to accept it because we fear change. Change makes us nervous. Not all of us, but a lot of us. Because especially when you suffer from severe traumas, because you have manufactured a world that fits you, that works for you, that you are in control of. And, you know, when we heal, in a lot of cases, including my own, well, especially my own, you kind of free yourself. But that also means that you don't have control anymore. We have control over certain things, right? I mean, there are things in life that we have to have some kind of control over. But in the direction that we're going, on the journey that we're on, the path that we're taking, we don't always necessarily have that control. And because of that, the fear of the unknown starts to strike. And then that island of overthinking keeps keeps winding up its arm with that anchor to throw it at your boat. And you're doing the best you can to dodge it, because what's happening is self-sabotage. And a lot of times we don't even realize we're doing it. Maybe it comes in the form of procrastination. Maybe it comes in the form of just kind of isolating. Maybe it comes in the guise of, starting arguments with people that, are trying to help you because you're afraid. Maybe you're afraid to take that help that they're offering because it's just kind of like, no. Here's the thing I learned myself. And maybe this is just my perspective, but you're never going to be ready. Okay? I keep saying to myself, I keep procrastinating, saying, well, I need this, that, or the other to be done for me to be ready. You're never going to be ready. I mean, for most of our lives, we've never been ready for anything that's happened to us that's been on a grand scale or even just a normal scale. When we walk out the door, we don't know what's going to happen. We think we do, so we're ready, but we're ready for anything. So think of, you're healing, you're being healed. Instead of being the deer in headlights freaking out about what's going to happen, just, remind yourself that we're never actually ready for what might happen in our lives. I mean, even when we lose people, when I lost my mom, I knew it was coming, and I thought I was ready. But the minute she took her last breath and the minute I came back into the room and my dad told me she had passed, I was just kind of like, I wasn't ready. But I thought I was. I thought I'd given myself 4 months to be ready, to have all these feelings and to know. Because it's like I said, the day I truly mourned was the day I found out which cancer she had. 4 months later, she was gone. And that's the same with Sissy. I spent the last evening with her that she was alive. And I was not feeling good when I left her house that day. But I just told her, love you, Sissy. I'll see you later. Text me and let me know what you want for dinner. But I had this feeling of dread inside of me. On my way out, I had called for someone to go in and check on her ASAP. I'm not sure if they did or not, but I had asked for them to do that because I was worried. I was concerned. And when I got the call that afternoon that she had passed away, having fought the great fight against her breast cancer, and just, I don't want to scare anyone that might be battling that. At the time, she had a very aggressive form of breast cancer. She had fought the regular kind before, but this time it had come back in a very aggressive form, and there are actually treatments for it now. And the next day, she was actually supposed to start a clinical trial. And I was telling older sibling yesterday that sometimes I look at, these commercials and I wonder, was that the one she would have been the trial in? Would have been her trial that she would have started? But I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready. I mean, I had to text my boss from the conference room, and she literally had to peel me off the wall. I was glued to the wall. I was trying to disappear into the wall. Ironically, on the other side of that wall was like a 8-story drop. But I didn't know what to do. I mean, in a 10-month span, I had lost 2 people that were so significant in my life. And each time I thought I was ready. Each time I was prepared. Just in case. But there was no amount of preparation to make for that. So it's just like, oh, good morning, Debbie Hall. She says, that's true, we're never ready. We just have to keep walking in faith and love. Yeah, you really do, So thank you for adding that. But that's why I wanted to do these cards, okay? These are the healing cards. So self-sabotage. Become conscious of how your inner sabotage functions. You're about to sabotage a big opportunity. Now, these get very specific, but I don't want you to look at them as being specific. I don't want you to just hear the words. I want you to listen, and I want you to kind of, whatever comes to your head first, maybe that's what it is that you're trying to self-sabotage. And it could be a lot of things. You know, it could be a big opportunity. It could be a relationship. It could be, you know, work. It could be you that you're trying to self-sabotage because you are in this place of moving forward now. And that fear might be what's holding you back. I mean, look at the card. Not for the faint of heart. I mean, that's kind of what self-sabotage looks like if you were to put a face on it. You're just trying to wander through your life, and fear is trying to hold you back. So now's the time to stop procrastinating and cease focusing your energy on why you are unworthy of wonderful, enriching experiences. When you connect to the saboteur archetype, you begin to recognize all the ways you pass up interesting opportunities and relationships which could make you grow, learn, evolve, and become fulfilled. The saboteur is terrified of change and guards your heart from that which is meaningful to you with the misguided belief that if you don't try, you can't fail. It forgets that if you don't escape from your comfort zone, you cannot succeed and experience the love and joy which would fulfill you. On the lighter side, the saboteur can help you connect to your intuition and help you to listen to your deeper wisdom. It can assist you in deciphering a potentially dangerous situation from an exciting one. So, I don't necessarily see the saboteur as being your spidey instincts. Okay? To me, it's your brain overthinking. Your spidey instincts come from your gut. It comes from your soul. It comes from your heart. It doesn't come from your mind. Okay? It fuels it into your mind. But sometimes our brain, it gets into overactive mode and starts thinking in all these different bad directions. That's why they call it a gut feeling. Right? Because your heart knows that sometimes your brain is going to be like, oops, let's not do this. But your heart is telling you, come on, just give it a shot. See what happens. Anything is possible. Anything can happen. Right? In the Mary Poppins musical, she has an entire song. The whole family has an entire song. Anything can happen if you let it. And that's true. That's truly true. Anything can happen if you let it. Because a lot of times we will self-sabotage ourselves just to keep ourselves safe. So the next one was inner child. I brought this one up because that's what I had to deal with. That's the last thing on my list that I had to heal was my inner child. Your inner child is urging you to lighten up a little, get out of your comfort zone and have fun. In order to be healthy, we must engage our imagination, creativity, and spontaneity. When was the last time you did something spontaneous, intuitive, and outrageous? When and with whom do you feel uninhibited, relaxed, and completely comfortable to be yourself? Your inner child can be your strongest ally or your biggest foe. That's what I had to deal with. It can assist you to heal childhood pain, rejection, loneliness, and abandonment. It can take you on an exciting adventure, help you become more confident, daring, original, and bold. Or it can make you behave in childish ways, bringing up anxiety, fear, and suspicion. This card beckons you to heal your childhood pain and discover your independence, compassion, creativity, talents, and joy. A healthy inner child can help you connect to your integrity, divinity, and purity. It believes in miracles and creates magic in your life. A lot of times we just see our inner child as being this wackadoodle, being inside of us, right? That's just like, let's do all kinds of crazy, stupid things that people will think is immature. But it's not necessarily. It's called being spontaneous and having fun. For me, the inner child I had to heal was the traumatized inner child. And I know I've mentioned this in the past, but there was a tweet I saw where somebody says, how do I get rid of my inner child? Excuse me. And when I put my reply in, I noticed the comments above mine, in one way or another, reflected my same thoughts. You don't. You nurture it. You heal it. Your inner child is your innocence. And a lot of times we forget about that. We lose that. We think with certain actions in our life, our innocence is gone. No, our innocence is never gone. It's always there. And, your inner child is also where your whimsy kind of comes from, right? It's like, oh, let's try this, let's try that. I am convinced that my inner child is in charge of the fact that I love to push buttons, not people buttons, actual buttons. Okay, I mean, if I see a button, older sibling knows, just stand out of the way, because Shelly, if she can touch it, she is going to push the button. Or even, okay, here's another good example. At Disneyland, okay, they have the Indiana Jones ride. Now, what I love about this ride is that it really, really makes people have to go against everything they're taught. When that we're taught as children. It is really, the cue for this ride is every, child's dream to be told to do something that they cannot do. And they have a pole, which I don't think works anymore. But in part of the queue, they have a pole where you push on it, it makes it sound like the entire cave is lowering. And the spikes on the side do. The actual thing doesn't, but the way they've set it up in the past, like I said, I'm not sure it works anymore because it breaks a lot. Or the trigger breaks a lot. It makes it look like you're in that scene from the Temple of Doom where it's just like, when they're going for the chalice. But also, when you're walking in, there is a well, okay? And there's a lid on it, and it says, do not touch rope. Well, the more you learn and the more that people go, there's always that one person in any group that discovers things, because they will touch everything. If they didn't want you to touch the rope, they would have put it behind glass, or they would have made it so you couldn't touch it. But it is literally right on the other side, and there's no rope around it. Actually, there is a rope around it because it's part of the queue, but I pulled on it once, and this is actually not the first time I pulled on it, but one time I was in the line, I pulled on it, and I hear this kid go, "Mommy, that lady is pulling the rope, and it says not to pull the rope." And I just kind of smiled, and I told them, I said, "Believe it or not, this time it's okay." And I told them, I said, for the longest time, even as an adult, like your mommy, I wouldn't pull the rope because it said not to. But I said, when you're in a place, because I said, "Where are you at?" He's all, "I'm in the Indiana Jones ride." I said, "But where's the Indiana Jones ride?" "At Disneyland." And Disneyland's supposed to be magical. And boy, the kid pulled the rope, nothing happened. So the mom says, "Pull it harder." And all of a sudden he hears all the stuff that gets triggered from inside of where you're pulling the rope. And that's the inner child. I mean, they're obviously a child at the time, but it's my inner child that loves to do these things because they do bring joy. These are things that I was told I couldn't do when I was a kid. And rightly so. And a lot of times, I mean, there's a lot of buttons in life you should not push because you do not know what's going to happen. But when you're in an amusement park, it's fine. I went to Universal with my dad and his lady friend at the time after my mom had passed away. And we were on the Transformer ride. Buttons galore. Like, usually when we go with older sibling, we're able to go through a different entrance, but we didn't have her with us that time. So we went through the regular people entrance, and I loved it more than the other one because there are buttons everywhere. Switches, levers, buttons. And I hear my dad's friend say to him, "Is she always like that?" She's all, "Should we be worried?" My dad's all, "No, she just likes to push buttons." But what was surprising was that he defended me. I mean, not that he would defend me like he needed to, but I mean, I just figured he would look at me like, "Are you done yet?" Because everybody else does. But it felt so whimsical to push these things. And that's what our inner child does. It believes in miracles and creates magic in your life. Those are the words we should hang on to. Heal the trauma, heal the pain, heal whatever it is you need to heal for your inner child to be vibrant again. For your inner child to remind you that we may not be ready, but it's okay. We weren't ready when we were kids. We just plowed forward and didn't care, right? I mean, when we were on the teeter-totter, we always knew someone was going to jump off and make us, slam butt first into the ground, and it hurts, and then you roll off and you giggle and you run away. But even when we were ready, we weren't ready because it's like, okay, I know they're going to just jump off and what's coming, but then it still hurts, right? And you think, well, geez, I knew it was coming, but because we're not always ready. But as kids, when we're given the opportunity to grow up in a regular, normal environment, and I mean trauma-free environment, we're whimsical. I look at my nephews and I think, God, these two are just so adventurous, so whimsical. So, I mean, my 8-year-old nephew was on a paddleboard. I went with my family to Havasu a few years ago, and I'm like, nope, sorry. But just to watch them have that, to know that, their mom is doing this spectacular job of just letting them be adventurous, just letting them indulge the inner child when appropriate. It's a joy to watch, because a lot of us didn't get that. I did with my parents to some degree, but like I said, I suffered from a trauma that they didn't know about. So they always thought, oh, well, she's just shy. Which could have been. I was an only child. I mean, who knows how to always navigate an only child, right? Where there are so many different versions of only children. There's the one that everybody thinks they know. Spoiled gets away with everything. I was not one that got away with everything. I maybe a little more spoiled, but only a little more spoiled because I was the only one, right? Maybe an only child isn't always spoiled. They're just the only one the parents have to give things to. So, now some of them are spoiled and some of them get things that are just like, oh my God. But they get demanding. It's like, okay, maybe you got to reel that in a little. But see, baby sibling says, too many adventures, I'm tired. Yeah, you know what? You can rest when you're old. When you're old and gray and you're retired. That's what old age is for. You're just sitting back and relaxing and taking it down one notch. But don't take it down all your notches. Still get out there and enjoy life. But it's true. Sometimes you got to be whimsical. And that's what your inner child does for you. The next card, healing. You know what cracks me up about these cards? They're so dramatic. Seriously, they're so dramatic. Does anybody smile in this deck? But I do like the meanings in them. But healing. Okay, and you can tell from her eyes that she has been crying. Illness and pain in your body is a message for you to slow down, look within, and make important changes. Now, this isn't to me just about illness and pain in your body. This can be healing across the board. All right. If you are experiencing stress, feel overwhelmed, or suffering ailments in your body, or feel exhausted and depressed, it means that your body is trying to communicate with you. Your body wants you to start treating it in a more loving manner and listening to the messages it is sending you. You need to become conscious of the areas in your life that you are avoiding or suppressing. Healing takes time. It is a process. Your first step towards healing is to create a safe, loving, supportive environment where you can listen to your inner wisdom. Now, that last part is what I really want to focus on, because it's not always just about pain. Like I said, I have been reading a lot of different articles about how what you're going through can actually cause illness. It can, if suddenly you have incontinence, right? And you're just like, what the hell? Maybe you're in your 20s and you're like, what? Why is this happening to me? This should not... Think about whether or not how stressed you are. If you are so stressed, that causes it, because your entire body is tightening up. You're basically squeezing everything inside, right? Because you're so rigid, you're so tight. So it doesn't mean there may be something medically wrong. Although check it out, because you never know. It's always better to be safe than sorry. But a lot of times illnesses that we do get can be caused by stress. High blood pressure is caused by stress. I have seen people who have changed their diet and everything, and they still have to take high blood pressure medicine. But I've also known people who changed their diet, didn't have a significant change, had a little bit of a change, but not a significant one. But then they started meditating, then they started finding mindfulness, and all of a sudden, bam, it went way down. But everyone just figured it was because they were eating healthy, until you bring it up and they're like, you know what? You might be right. I'm not trying to be right. I read and I see these things, and it's just sometimes I'm this person that, I do get, it drives me nuts sometimes an older sibling does this, but I love to question everything. I really do. And maybe that's why, because now I realize what it feels like when I'm talking to other people, like, but what about this? But why doesn't this? But blah, blah, blah. And I know Debbie Hall can kind of understand this because, she has introduced me to someone who's doing a trial course on biofeedback. Now, here's the interesting thing. It's supposed to be a biofeedback for weight loss. I haven't lost any weight, but my healing has been, it is exploded. Because if I may not have lost any physical weight, but I told them yesterday I feel like I've lost 1,000 pounds of emotional weight. Because that's what it feels like, these weights that are lifted off of you. Because, you have these things that your body and your brain are tapping into, these sounds that your body and brain are tapping into. That's why I really like the sound healing card from the ritual deck. That really, really kind of put me in tune to remind me that this is something I should be doing at least a couple times a week. Just putting it on in the background, or just, whatever I need to do, or just meditating with it. Because your body sometimes, it needs a break. It needs a break. We go, 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 but we don't rest. And that's another part where it says, if you are experiencing stress, feel overwhelmed, or suffering ailments in your body, or feel exhausted and depressed, it means that your body is trying to communicate with you. And it is. So see, she says, I agree with you. Letting go feels so much lighter. It really does. It is really, it's a process, guys. Again, I'm going to read this last line again. Healing takes time. It is a process. But I like the fact that it came after inner child, because this is what you have to do. You have to learn to heal that inner child. When we're children, we can sleep like rocks, right? When nothing's bothering us, because we're not worried about everything. We're not, this is a rough one for me because I've worried pretty much all my life. But in those moments when I knew I didn't have to, I could sleep like a rock. I still sleep like a rock. Especially when I'm not worried, I can sleep through anything. I have slept through lots of things. I've slept through earthquakes. I slept through, when I was a kid, some drunk driver knocking down the electric pole or the telephone pole in front of my aunt and uncle's house. Literally like 50 feet outside the window, and I was just dead to the world. But it's because we're resting. We have nothing to worry about. We have nothing to make us tense or to keep us awake, so that we get minimal amounts of sleep and then are just exhausted the next day. Healing is important. And if you're not sure where to start with that inner child. Check in with your innocence. Check in with your inner child. See where you're at, and if you're on the same page. My inner child and I, we're pretty close. That's who I call Floof. That's the Floof notebook that I talk about. It's my healing of my inner child. All right. So the last card is courage, because this is what you are going to need to heal, to also heal your inner child, and to stop sabotaging yourself. Okay. You need courage, and that's exactly what it takes. It is not always easy to go forth in healing, because you are going to have to face some demons. You are going to have to face things in your past that you don't want to face. I just, as an example, I told older sibling, because she's really sweet. She'll be like, oh, good morning, how'd you sleep? And it's like, well, I couldn't get to sleep last night. And I was laying in my room, and I said, I don't know if you could tell that my TV kept going on and off, on and off, on and off. And because I do keep my door closed at night, but you can kind of see the light underneath. But she's all, no, I didn't notice, the light under your door going on and off. And I told her, I said, every time I fell asleep, it's almost like all this overthinking and negativity just kept pounding my thoughts with really icky things. And I don't mean icky things like from my trauma from my past. I mean like spooky things. Like, when you close your eyes, you're like, okay, I don't want to close my eyes again because I really don't want to see that. And I told her I got so tired that this thing that was like right in my face, that was just super duper scary. I was just like, you know what? I'm done. And I said, the minute I said I'm done, we're still in this spooky room, this creepy looking room. But all of a sudden we're having, we have playing cards in our hands. And it says to me, what the hell just happened? And I said, well, I'm tired. And they're, well, why are we holding playing cards? I'm like, I don't know. I don't even know how to play poker. I don't. And then they're all, well, this is stupid. They're all, you're dumb. And, they start putting me down. And then all of a sudden we're holding coffee cups. Because there was a part of me, maybe even my inner child, that says, I'm not going to be afraid of you anymore. I'm not going to let you keep me awake because I'm afraid to close my eyes because I'm afraid of what I might see. And so I changed the narrative. And next thing you know, it's like, first we're having coffee, then we're having tea, because I realized, oh, I've always wanted a really pretty tea set. And it was frustrating, whatever this was in my head, so bad that all of a sudden I poofed out and I was asleep. So whether something was trying to tap in and hurt me, or whether something was just in my head and I was trying to ignore going to sleep, or for whatever reason, maybe fear, self-sabotage, whatever it is, I had the courage I needed to change the narrative and say, you know what, screw you, I'm done. I need sleep. I'm only going to get about 4.5 hours of sleep now. So, we're done. Let's have some tea. And then, like I said, next thing I know, my alarm's going off. So courage. Hold the light in the dark and find your way out. Thank you, Debbie. Courage requires you to fearlessly stride ahead despite the challenges you are experiencing. Whether you are afraid of success or failure, you cannot stay where you are. You need to make a decision and move forward with belief, trust, and boldness. Give it your all no matter the outcome. Despite what you have been telling yourself, you are ready for a new adventure and another chance to prove that you have what it takes to face life's challenges. Stop investing in limitations, lack, and dysfunction. Every blessing has a challenge, and every challenge contains a blessing. You are ready to explore both. Whilst there may be difficult moments ahead, keep positive and believe that everything is going to work out for your absolute best. You are being asked to gather the courage to be who you truly are and to stand strong for your convictions. The funny thing is, this card covers a lot of what I talked about yesterday. And there was something that I did speak about. This one guy, it challenged me, and I liked it because he was talking about how, we focus so much on finding the light that we forget that the real work was done in traveling through the darkness. And that's not wrong. I mean, think of it as like a fun house, right? But think of it as a fun house that's a dark maze, and you can barely see anything, if anything at all. You're just supposed to feel your way through. That's kind of what healing's like. You're on one end of this trailer in the dark, in the light, but you're like, okay, I need to heal. I want to heal. I want to find my way through. So, you find that courage to go in and you just wiggle your way through, right? You just feel your way through, and then you're back in the light again. But you're like, oh my God, it's the light. Thank God, we're out of this crazy maze and this spooky maze, and it was hard and it was scary, and I got short of breath, and I'm just terrified, and blah blah blah. And then you get into the light and you're like, oh my God, I made it into the light. But some of us, not all of us, because I don't want to say everybody, but then all of a sudden we forget what we had to do to get there, the courage we needed to get through that maze, that dark, dark maze. Because we get so focused and excited about being in the light, we forget the hard work that we put into it. That's why at the beginning, I said that I found the light by accident. I tripped right into the light. I wasn't expecting it. I didn't see it coming. I wrote something in a tweet to reply to someone, and I was caught off guard when I said, I am healed. I saw that in 240 characters, those 3 letters, or those 3 words stood out. I am healed. And the self-saboteur in me wanted to delete it. But I said no, because I wasn't planning on writing this. And I think it was my inner child telling me, look, we've been doing some pretty hard work. We've been following the Carl Jung path of shadow work and the metaphysical path of shadow work. And, we've earned this. We've earned those 3 words, I am healed. And so now that's why I picked these cards, because whether you're at the beginning of your journey, the middle of your journey, or you're the deer in headlights now, this is what we need to do. We need to stop self-sabotaging. We need to find that inner child and get to know it. Find out what is hurting it or what makes it click and makes it spark. And if you have to, if you have to heal the trauma of the inner child, heal it. If you've gotten lost on your path, reconnect with your inner child and remind yourself, who you used to be, who you are, and who you still want to be, and reconnect with that inner child. And then heal. And like I said, the most important card of this entire thing, which is the last one, because I really wanted to make that point, was to have the courage to do it. It will take courage. You may not feel like you have it. You may be in the middle of your journey already. And if you have made that step to get into the middle of that journey, let me tell you, that takes all the courage in the world. That takes a lot of courage. All right. So I want to share this really quick about mindfulness, because I think this will help with the Heal Yourself deck. So this comes from Self Care Express on Instagram. It's all together, Self Care Express. And it's ways to be mindful. Number one, understand that all things come and go. It's all temporary. This anxiety you might be feeling because you are in the middle of your journey, your healing journey. We're always on a journey, but you might be in the middle of your healing journey right now. So if you are, then just know that, just understand that things will come and go, but it will be okay. All right. As my father always says, this too shall pass. But right here it says it's all temporary. It's all temporary. You will come back out and you will come through. Just don't stop, because that when you resist, that's what takes so long to get through. Just go with the flow, process your feelings, validate your feelings. Don't shove them down. Don't shove them away, because this is how we heal. We process them, we deal with them, we find ways through them, and then past them. All right, slow down when reading and truly absorb the information in. A lot of times we'll get these self-help books, right? And then we'll sit there and say, well, that's crap. That didn't work for me at all. But how close were you paying attention? How much were you listening? Or how much were you able to absorb? A lot of times when I read this one book called Losing Your Pounds of Pain. And what it was how emotions are tied into weight gain. And how kind of coming in tune with these things can help let go. Now, I'm going to admit, I have to read this book again, because the first time I did absorb it, but I was so in the middle of my healing, or really kind of actually at the beginning of my healing, that the only thing I really got out of it was that it was so sad that other people have gone through the same things I have. And some of them even worse, because, who, caused their pain. And I kind of got lost in that. So I pulled the book out, and I think now that I'm in this new place, it's going to be the perfect thing that I need to read, because it's going to show me I overcame this. And if I can overcome this, I can do anything in this world. I can manifest anything into this world, into my life, into being. So, and if it's just a regular book, like if you're out there relaxing, and you're just like, yeah, I'm going to read my book. Absorb it, look at it, read it, just truly enjoy it, immerse, disappear. Books are great because you can disappear into them for a little while. All right. Turn everyday typical tasks into mindful moments. Somebody posted this one day, last week on Twitter, and I loved it. They're all, instead of saying, oh my God, I have to clean the cat box, she said, how about looking at it this way? I'm so happy and grateful that I can give my kitties a clean place to potty. And I thought, wow, that's a good way to look at it. Instead of making it feel like a chore, you're doing something, you're in service to something else, and if you have pets and you love them, they're my fur babies, then you want to take care of them. And this is what I needed, because sometimes we get so depressed that we have to put it in our lists to remind ourselves to do it, because we don't want to do anything. We're just so in our heads that we're debilitated. And that is an actual thing. Depression can cause you to feel so debilitated that you cannot move. You just are not inspired to do anything. And I'm slowly trying to come out of that, because things do need to get done, and things do need to be to be completed and finished and started and all those other things. And the only way we can do that is to get out of our head and to remind ourselves that we are breathing and we need to live, you know. And even if you are a person who is so debilitated by their mental health, just know that waking up in the morning and breathing, even if that's the only thing you do today, it's wonderful, because you're still here and you still have an opportunity to move yourself on your path. But don't shame yourself if you can't even get out of bed. Just be grateful that you are still here. All right. Practice doing one thing at a time slowly. That's rough for me. Okay. I mean, I even talk fast, but, yeah, practice doing one thing at a time slowly. And I think that's really part of mindfulness, right? I mean, sometimes I get worried that these things are too long. You know, I do watch the time. And there's some times where I just ramble. I mean, this thing used to be called Random Ramblings, all right? But they're not so random anymore. But I do still ramble a lot. And, but today I've been watching the time because I thought, God, it's getting really long. But then I thought, everything I'm saying needs to be said. It's just spilling out of me without me even realizing where a lot of it is coming from, you know, besides experience and perspective. But, I realized that, you know, I don't want to rush through things like this, because these self-care tips that I was giving, they are important, and they may help someone on their own journey, you know, just like it helped me, and just like other people helped me. So remember, practice doing one thing at a time slowly. Be mindful. Don't just rush through something. Just take your time to notice every movement, every, you know, if you're, well, I don't want to say watering lawns, because out here we're in a drought, so we're on water restrictions. But if you're writing something or writing a friend a letter, be mindful about it. You know, don't just say, hey, how's it going? Blah, 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 and say all this crap and you can't remember what you said because you rushed through it. Take your time. Okay, mean it. Take small bites and truly enjoy the food. I rush through my food. When I was a kid, I was shamed for eating so slow. So now I eat so fast. But yesterday I made it a point when I was eating to really kind of be mindful. And it didn't last very long, but I tried to make it last as long as it could. But with every bite I took, I'm like, God, this really is good. It's like, how many times it just hit my tongue and swallowed? You know, chew, chew, swallow. Instead of chew, 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 chew. Enjoy it. The tastes, I mean, there's so many different, you know, variations of taste that can go into one simple thing. And we miss that because we're not thinking so hard about it. And I can go even further to one of the practices in the magic book where they're talking about, you know, the people that make the noodles or the sauces, the people that grow the things that go into this. There's so much you could actually think about. It can get overwhelming sometimes. But, you know, that's where all gratitude also comes from. Like, thank you for this food that tastes amazing, and for everybody that, you know, prepared it, had a hand in preparing it, even the person that did prepare it, like physically prepared it, not just the people that put it all together, all the ingredients together. You know, there's so many things that went to you eating this one specific dish. Okay? So, get outdoors and embrace nature. Get the hell out and enjoy nature. It's going to be warm today, but it is a pretty day. I'm looking outside and it's a very, very pretty day. So get outside and embrace nature. And then the last thing was a quote I found from the same website. And it says, give yourself the permission to unwind and step back when you're feeling overwhelmed without feeling guilty. Sorry, let me try that again. Give yourself the permission to unwind and step back when you're feeling overwhelmed without feeling guilty. You can't always be there for others if you don't take care of yourself first. All right, I'm going to finish this with that last line. You can't always be there for others if you don't take care of yourself first. So remember, have the courage to heal, or even as well heal your inner child, and stop self-sabotaging. Okay, stop self-sabotaging. These were not random cards. I specifically went through. I was actually grateful that, you know, whoever put this book together, put it together in the sense of, you know, they do follow one to the other. You know, if you were to do the front card 1 through however many there are in this deck, 30 something, This is card number 2. I don't even know what card number 1 is. Let's look really quick. Selling out. Okay, I'm not really sure what that means, but I mean, I know what it means, but I'm not sure what it means in this book. But self-sabotage was the first card that we pulled. Inner child was the next one that would have come up. Healing was the card after that. And then courage. Okay, you have to find the courage to do these things. Even if it's the tiniest amount of courage, that's all you need to take the first step forward. To put one foot first, then the other, then the next, until you're walking and it's becoming a habit. Okay, so I hope everybody has a wonderful, wonderful day. Happy again, Self-Care Wednesday. It's hump day. And, go out and enjoy yourself. Think about these things that I've said if you were in a place where you need to be healed, and allow it to come to you. Allow it to just kind of settle in there. And if you have to make a plan for yourself to do that, then make a plan for yourself to do that. It's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. All right. Thank you, Debbie Hall. I hope you have a great day too. So everybody have a great, great day. I'll see you back here tomorrow for Things to Think on Thursday. No topic yet, but I'm sure I'll come up with something. I always say that, and then I do come up with something, and I go in a whole different direction. So whatever. Tomorrow is Things to Think on Thursday. Right here, Facebook Live, 8:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. That is California time. It is public, so anybody can watch. My name is Shelly Marie Lucas, so you can find me on Facebook that way. Or I upload these right after to YouTube under the Aloha Perspective with Shelly Marie Lucas. So have a great, great day again, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. And please, please, please take care of yourself. Even if you just zero in on one thing we talked about today, it's a start, right? It's a start. So go out there, have a great Self-Care Wednesday, and I will see everybody tomorrow.